This is analog and digital communication systems. The course code is EC501. It has 3 lectures per week and total 36 contact hour in the semester. It has 3 number of credit points. Myself, Dr. Indranath Sarkar, Associate Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at JS College of Engineering, Kollani. It has 5 course outcome. At the end of the course, we expect the students will able to explain the importance of amplitude and digital modulation demodulation schemes, analyze analog communication systems for their signal to noise ratio, efficiency and bandwidth, compare the advantage of various pulse modulation technique and analyze their system performance, demonstrate signal representation, analyze various digital communication techniques, can compute the bit error performance and compare their advantages and limitations. So these are the points we expect that students will able to demonstrate or explain or analyze or compute or compare. So all these things will make the students mastermind on this subject. There are 5 modules for this subject, and for each of the subject there are some contact hours limited to complete. There are 6 contact hours assigned to module 1 for introductory descriptions. For the module 2, random process has 6 contact hour, 3 contact hour assigned to module 3 on pulse modulation, 8 contact hour assigned to signal vector representation under module 4. In module 5, digital modulation technique has 13 contact hour. So total 13 plus 8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 6. So total 36 contact hour exist for the completion of analog digital communication systems. For like every subject has prerequisite, here is also the knowledge of signal vector representation, characteristics of additive wide Gaussian noise, geometric representation of signals, synthesizer, analyzer, signal vector, signal space, Euclidean space are required. Signals and systems is a subject which is covered in earlier semester, has many things to recall for the analog and digital communication system. So signal and system is an important subject before understanding analog and digital communication. Still there are mathematics, that is engineering mathematics covered up to 3rd semester, has plenty of mathematical equations such as the Fourier transformation, Laplace transformation. So those things are required to understand, as well as trigonometric applications are required for analog and digital communication. Statistical part will be revised here. So that is why if the basic statistical part required, it is needed to be recapitulated. Now these are the course outcome versus program outcome mapping. Now as the analog and digital communication has plenty of application in the domain of information technology, that is why we are finding there are almost all the program outcome has minimum contribution to one or more course outcome. The course outcome weightage 3 is given for high weightage, 2 weightage is given for moderate weightage, and 1 value is written, that is the numerical value 1 is given for least weightage to some program outcome. And if there is no such linkage, then it is kept blank. Now as the basic mathematics related, that is why it has high weightage to program outcome 1 and program outcome 2. Also it is dealing with several project oriented work, because in communication system various basic modulator, demodulator, as well as quantizer, equalizer, many circuits, basic circuits are utilized for the communication system. That is why it is also related to implementation of project. There are various projects which could be implemented using a communication circuitry. Also, there are various mathematical equations required to reduce the noise addition to the transmitted signal. So transmitted signal are prone to noise. That is why noise elimination is one of the most important factor for analog and digital communication. Here the differences of analog and digital communication will be taught, and thereby students will understand how digital communication dominates over analog communication, but cannot avoid analog communication for the transmission of digital signals through wireless medium. So that is why various project related as well as seminar conferences, English languages, all are related and has weightage, as well as it has lifelong learning uh, because students may target for circuit implementation, that is their dream project may be implemented later. So that is why lifelong learning is also having higher weightage for each of the outcome. The course objective for analog and digital communication is to familiarize students with the fundamentals of analog and digital communication system, because analog communication is the primary communication system, thereafter digital communication has come. So comparison as well as their foundation knowledge required to be transmitted to the student, to provide students with tools and for communication signal analysis. So there are various mathematical tools, simulators that will be provided to students to better understand about the application of such tools, to familiarize students with various techniques for amplitude modulation and demodulation of analog signals, to develop the students' ability to determine the effects of receiver frequency and phase errors in synchronous modulation systems. So phase error or magnitude error are critical cases which will be studied under these objectives. To familiarize students with techniques for generating and demodulating narrowband and wideband frequency and phase modulated signals, to familiarize students with the basic techniques for generating and demodulating pulse code modulated signals, to familiarize students with issues pertaining to the transmission of digital signals over bandwidth limited communication channels. So with this we will start the analog and digital communication system. Hello, this is analog and digital communication. We are discussing signal vector representation under the module 4. The topics to be discussed today are the correlation receiver, features of the received vector, matched filter and matched filter bank. The correlation receiver can be pictorially shown in this fashion. That is the block diagram you can say of correlation receiver, where RT stands for the receiving vector. That means whatever is the signal has been transmitted, RT is the received vector, and which has the time duration 0 to capital T. Therefore, there is a presence of sequence of binary bits or symbols which are having the time duration limited 0 to capital T, for which it is valid for the next same time duration another bit is coming. So in this way successive bits are coming or successive symbols are coming, and they are fed to the multiplier. That is, all the lines are short circuited to all the multipliers. Now whether the multiplier will produce the corresponding product from each of the multiplier, no. A specific receive vector is associated to a certain basis function, that is either phi 1t or phi 2t or phi nt, because we already have seen that for representation of signal requires the basis function. So for each of the signal or each of the signal related to a particular symbol is associated with a particular basis function. Suppose symbol 1 is associated with phi 1t, then symbol 2 is associated with phi 2t. In this way there is a symbol n that is associated with phi nt. So therefore the symbol which is associated to a particular basis function shall be multiplied and produce a square, and that is producing the product which will be low pass filter. In the other multiplier, what happens, as the basis function is different from the basis function residing in the receive vector, so whatever is the product is produced, that will not be producing the square of the basis function. And as we know, all the basis function are orthogonal to each other, therefore if they are integrated, they will produce 0. Since the product of the two other basis function, there is two unlike basis function, if integrated within the bit interval 0 to t or symbol interval 0 to t, the result will be 0. That is why this is the meaning of orthogonality. And we know all the basis functions are orthonormal. That means for the orthogonality, unlike basis functions, if multiplied and integrated over the time duration 0 to capital T, that produces 0. Whereas in case of the same basis function, if taken multiplied with the same basis function, therefore it is producing the square of the basis function. And if the square of the basis function integrated over the time interval 0 to capital T, that is the symbol interval, then the result is unity, because it is a normalized property. So basis functions are orthogonal as well as normalized, so therefore we are only getting the low pass filter output for those signals which are having the same basis function as the multiplier in the receive vector. Okay, so therefore only one of the output will be containing a non-zero value. Other outputs of this correlator are 0 for a typical receive signal, receive vector, we can say. So what it is producing? It is producing R1 is equal to SI1 plus WI1. Now what is WI1? This is the additive white Gaussian noise, and SI1 is nothing but the scalar coefficient corresponding to the ith symbol, and we are getting the receive vector is nothing but the vertical matrix of all the receive vectors R1, R2 up to Rn. Now at any point of time, either R1 or R2, any one symbol is having non-zero value. Now this is the features of the receive vector. We will now discuss briefly about the statistical features of the receive vector R as it obtained at the output of the correlation detector. The jth element of R which is obtained at the output of the jth correlator once in t second can be expressed as Rj is equal to integration 0 to capital T RT multiplied by phi j t, and that is equal to we have to replace RT, because we know RT is nothing but the algebraic sum of the signal related to a particular symbol and the additive white Gaussian noise. So if we multiply it by the phi j, that is the basis function, and if it is integrated, we are getting the scalar coefficient and the additive white Gaussian noise Wj. So this is the resulting numerical value, and that can be compared with the threshold to determine in favor of a particular symbol. And the features of the receive vector continued here. Wj is a Gaussian distributed random variable with zero mean, and Sij is a scalar signal component of Si vector. Now the mean of the correlator output is E of Rj is equal to E of Sij plus Wj, and that is equal to that is, if we take the decision in favor of the symbol M, then you can say M of Rj. We note that the mean of the correlator output is independent of the noise process. However, the variances of the correlator outputs are dependent on the strength of accompanying noise. So variance provides the noise. Variance provides the power. So variance of Rj is equal to sigma square Rj. And now here expectation of the square of the Rj minus Sij can be taken for determination of the variances. And here it is very much clear that the E of Wj square is nothing but the mean square value of the noise. And this mathematical expression is useful for derivation of the power of the receive vector. And this is the match filter. Certain structural modification and simplification of the correlation receiver are possible by observing that all orthonormal basis functions phi j are defined between 0 to TB, and they are 0 outside this range. Analog multiplication, which is not always very simple and accurate to implement, of the received signal RT with time limited basis functions may be replaced by some filtering operations. So let HIT represents the impulse response of a linear filter to which RT is applied. Then the filter output YJT may be expressed as YJT is equal to linear integration of R tau and Hj of t minus tau d tau. Now let Hj is equal to phi j of t minus small t, a time reversed and time shifted version of phi jt. Now yjt is nothing but the integration of R tau and phi j of t minus tau. So this gives you yt is finally R tau multiplied by phi j of tau. And this is a typical match filter bank, in which it is telling that it is initially integrating and thereafter it is collecting the or taking the decision over the peak value of the integrated part. So that is why sometimes match filter is known as the integrate and dump type filter. So whenever a received signal is received by the receiver, it is passed through the filter, which is followed by a sampler switch for observation of the vector R. So match filter network is useful for removal of additive white Gaussian noise, because it is on receiving, it is integrating the overall signal, and after integration it is collecting the magnitude. So it is once on one side it is helpful, because when the signal is traversed through a longer distance, it is deteriorated in magnitude. So that is why it is attenuated. That is why the integration after reception is one intelligent process by which we can again boost up the magnitude, whether it is contaminated with noise or not. But we know noise should have a limit. So once it is integrated, we are getting more emphasized receipt vector, and if it is taken sample at the end of the bit interval or symbol interval, then you can take the decision correctly in favor of that part. So we should keep in mind that the amount of noise contamination should not exceed compared to the theoretical assumption, because assumption means the upper limit. Once we have taken the upper limit, then the received signal should have to maintain that limit. So once it is exceeding that particular noise level, the received signal might be errorful, but there should have some error control mechanism that will send a request to the transmitter that the received vector is errorful, and that is why retransmission is required. Thank you.